Hello everyone and welcome to Don't Be Bored. Today I'm joined by Tom Carpenter, the designer of Champions of the 100 Halls. This is an upcoming cooperative game for 1 to 4 players that's set in the 100 Halls universe that just happens to also be written by Tom himself. So welcome to the channel. Please introduce yourself, a little bit about the game and the universe itself.
Thanks, Ali. Happy to be here. Again, my name is Thomas K. Carpenter. I am the author of the 100 Halls universe of books, which is about a magical university, magical academy urban fantasy. I have over 30 books in the series. And basically the way it works is each hall teaches a different kind of magic, assassins, animal companions, stone singers, and so on. And I've been writing a 5-book series around each one of the halls with going through the 5 years. Each one is a wholly standalone series, but they all tie together into an overall storyline that culminates in a season 1 ending of The Order of Merlin. And right now I am currently releasing the beginning of season 2 with the Crystal Halls. And the game Champions of the 100 Halls is a cooperative strategy card game, 1 to 4 players. It's meant to be, played with a group against a scenario deck. There's basically 20 decks in the game, 9 player decks, 5 realms, and 6 scenarios. So the players are who you can take the role of in the game. The realm is where you are playing, and all these are, from the series. And the scenarios are, some of the villains and events that are happening in the books that you get to take on in that challenge.
It certainly sounds like a bit of a dangerous academy to be going to. What drove you as an author to sort of jump mediums from writing over to board games?
So I don't necessarily think of it as I was crossing mediums. I find there's a lot of games in my books. When people join the 100 Halls, or to get into the 100 Halls, they have to pass the Trials of Magic, which is 3 different magical events that they have to pass. They're judged both on surviving it and on how they get through it. There's the second year games that happens. Groups of students across different halls get together to solve these big challenges, things like that. So there's always kind of games in the books, and also my personal history. Is I've always been designing games. In the early years when I was younger, there weren't a lot of games out there to play. I mean, you had Monopoly and Risk and things like that, but we really wanted to do other things, so we would make up our own games using either graph paper or miniatures or things like that. So I think that game design has always been in my blood. And I had always intended to do that, to take, some of my books and make games. And I really thought, it wouldn't be for quite a while, but I think the availability of technology and, that Photoshop or things like that make it much easier for an independent designer, which has basically just been mostly myself and my wife, Rachel, putting the game together. And that's one of the cool things about technology right now, is it really has opened the doors to smaller and smaller teams to be able to accomplish big goals with the game.
You've designed the game to be highly replayable, and part of that is like a difficulty system that's sort of instilled into the game. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, and how early on in the process did that come about?
Yeah, the repeatability and the scalability of difficulty. I come from a long history of playing Magic. Somebody brought back cards from the summer. They had alpha beta cards and taught us all the game, and we were all instantly hooked. And I really love the complexity and interestingness that Magic affords. I do a lot of drafting, play a ton of Commander, those kind of things. So when it came to repeatability, I mean, that's kind of one of the things I was looking for. I mean, been playing Magic for 30 years and enjoying every year of it. So I wanted there to be, that you don't just play the game a few times and then you're done. So that's the idea, with the 9 decks, the 5 realms, and the 6 scenarios, and then being able to play 1 to 4 players with solo campaign or other options. I think means there's something like 7,000 different combinations you can play. Um, within all those. So I like that being an option that you can continue to play the game more than just a few times. And in fact, I like a game like Slay the Spire. I like playing the different characters, taking on the different challenges. Ooh, let's see if I can beat it this way. Let's see if I can beat it doing a ship build. Let's see if I can do some weird exhaust build, things like that. So, I wanted the game to have that kind of flexibility. And then the scalability, since you're not playing against other players, it really needs to have that dial of difficulty to where you could say, oh, we're going to, take on a little bit harder challenge and a little bit harder challenge. And then, I'm also planning on shipping kind of a list of achievements with it that you can, tackle and make that even harder. Well, let's try to beat this, without doing these things. Let's beat the circle of scale without making any of the dragons friendly, things like that.
I'm also a huge fan of Slay the Spire, and it sounds like there's plenty going on with 7,000 combinations, so that's really cool. What's one thing that makes Champions of the 100 Halls stand out, apart from its theme?
I think the number one thing that sets Champions of the 100 Halls apart is I wanted to design into it that complexity, but also the kind of combo, really, having those cool moments. So, again, bringing up magic. That's one of the fun things. If you're playing Commander, is sometimes you just want to do the cool thing that your deck does. And sometimes in playing a lot of games, I feel like they take out that, really cool thing you could do. I want it to be slightly broken if you can figure some things out. So I designed in lots of potential combos between the different players, and within, like, you can pick up artifacts or enchantments through the realms or other things, and then use those to do really, broken things within the game. I think a lot of times designers design that out, and I think players want to do that. And I had, in a lot of the play testing, it was so much fun to see people figure out some of those combos, or even some things that I hadn't really thought of, by combining different cards from different players, and to create a really powerful effect. Again, you're not going to end the game on turn 3 and, one person completely take over. But when you're working together, you get really cool synergies and really cool outcomes that make the game exciting. And then you want to do it again to see if you can do something else, do something cooler.
Combos are always fun, and you touched a little bit there on sort of the actual design process, the play testing, that sort of thing. What's one bit of wisdom that you'd pass on to future designers, those sort of budding designers raring to go with their own ideas?
A bit of wisdom about the design process, I think, is get something down early, get a quick draft, and it is really even for writing too, is write it, do it, design it, and then iterate it and learn from it. None of my books go out until they've been edited many times, read by many other people, have professional copy editor, all these different processes, just checking and confirming, making sure it's everything I want it to be. But you can't do that until it's written. The same way with game design, get it down, like, start doing it. I, immediately was making, like, I made initial test decks. Here's one realm, here's one scenario, here's a couple of, Ari and Pi player decks. And then I just would, like, mess with that and try and be like, oh no, that's not working, and just constant iteration. There were so many playtest hours, and my playtest group was, they were really good about, well, yeah, we're excited to try this new deck, try the new scenario. Ooh, let's see if we can beat the circle of scale. Let's see if we can beat this one, and let's do it with different players and things like that. And because no matter how much you put something down on a spreadsheet, or you have these ideas, until you do it, you don't know how it's going to play. There are many early design factors, early designs that I eliminated because it just wasn't working, and found more elegant or easier ways or better ways to do it. Yeah, the Ivan player, I had this really complex, like you had to add this potion and that potion to make the effect, and it wasn't fun. And that was the thing. We were playing it and it was like, this is boring. But then when I came up with the current design of Ivan, it was like, ooh, yeah, I mean, instantly you could kind of tell and feel that excitement when you're like, ooh, I'm really doing some cool things here, and watching other people explore the decks and experience that was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
I like the way you've sort of applied the logic you've learnt from writing the books to the game design, which is based on the books. It sort of comes nicely full circle there. Where can actually people find out more about the game?
Where can people find out more of the game? So it's on my website. I do have a link, thomaskcarpenter.com, and I have some of the information up there. Also on my YouTube channel, Thomas K. Carpenter Author, I believe it is, or if it's just Thomas K. Carpenter, one of the two. And I have 4 videos up there now. One is the trailer. The second is a how to play. The third is a deck by deck explanation, just kind of here's some example cards and a brief explanation. And then the last one is how to play solo. And then I will eventually have a full gameplay video where 3 or 4 people are going through the full game. That'll be up. And then, of course, the Kickstarter will be launching on February 13th. In 2024, so 55 days, I think, to the point of recording this. And I do have a link to all that stuff on Board Game Geek as well. If you sign up for my newsletter on my website, you can get updates and information. And also, I've been posting a card of the day on Twitter, and that's Thomas K. Carpenter without the R at the end, because ran out of letters for that. But the best place to know is to go to Kickstarter, find Champions of the 100 Halls, and follow the project, and you'll know when it launches. And make sure to be there right away to get all the good stuff and the stretch rewards.
The links that Tom just mentioned, I'll put them in the description box down below. But now for a bit of a fun one, Tom. What would you say is the game that has the best meeple in it?
Ooh, best meeple. When I saw the question, I went and looked at my collection. I realized, well, I don't have a lot of games that have meeples, for whatever reason. But playing with other friends, live in the area, I think Root would probably the best. Just like the little guys, or maybe Scythe, look like little blue Smurfs or something like that. So, or maybe you have to go old school and go to the old Monopoly meeples, little metal ones. But anyway, yeah, meeples are fun. I'm going to be designing a game. Actually, Champions of the 100 Halls was originally a board game, but I realized it wasn't working and it was too complex. But eventually I'm going to go back to that design area, and there definitely will be meeples for a 100 Halls game product.
Thanks to Tom for coming on today and answering my questions, and a little bit of a scoop at the end there about a future design from Tom, so that was pretty cool. And, well, make sure you do check out the links. They're in the description box down below, as I previously mentioned. And that wraps us up today. So enjoy the rest of your day and have a great day gaming.